Hello, my friends. Welcome to this episode of Living in Sync podcast. I've been getting this question on my Instagram lately because I truly feel like I have found the best workout regimen for me. And nothing of which I will talk about I am affiliated with anymore, but kind of crazy that I'm circling back to something of this nature. But here's where I was going wrong for so long, especially when I drew a line in the sand about a year ago and I was like, I've got to figure things out. I have to start, instead of going through the motions of a workout, really be like, am I training effectively for what I want, right? And what I want is longevity. What I want is well-roundedness in my fitness regimen. So what I was doing was the mantra, and I've got to say it, not because I don't think you couldn't make it work, but it was mid-30s, late 30s. It just wasn't working well for my body. And that was the mantra, hard days hard, easy day easy. And I would do like a difficult run, or if I was going to lift, I pushed myself so much that I would need 2 to 3 business days to recover. And I was trying my best to not let it hinder my consistency, but it was. I would do a workout with the mantra of like hard days hard, easy days easy. And so I would do a really hard workout. And then the next day I would try to do something more moderate. And the next day I would just be so fatigued that I had to take a rest day. And this is just me, but I thrive on consistency. I thrive on making baby steps in a direction to meet a goal. And I was like, okay, how can I rejigger this so I'm consistent more than anything and it still be really, really good and see progress and see results? And so here's what I started doing. I started shortening my training and just making it more consistent. Even when I was starting training for the 10K in January, I was running 2 to 3 days a week. Now, this week, for example, I have already ran 4 times and I'm not burnt out. And I'm going to take a day off of running tomorrow, but I'm pumped Friday to hit my run with fresh legs. So I shortened everything. And here's where the caveat comes in of I'm not talking about something that is something I'm affiliated with anymore, because as you guys know, I started following Nourish Move Love and Caroline Gervais, I can't remember, but free people on YouTube that have really great workouts. But I went back to Beachbody On Demand because Joel Freeman came out with a program called 25 Speed Train, and one of my friends was doing them and was like, this is solid. This is so good. And what I'm following in his program is 2 days a week of upper body, 2 days a week of lower body, and 1 total body and 1 mobility. So that is 6 days a week, right? 2 to 5. Yeah. 6 days a week. And I'm loving it. I love that it's only 25 minutes. I love that he has the programming where it's progressive overload and different time under tension. So I do feel like I am seeing strength progress in a big way. I can pick up heavy weights in a particular exercise because I know the workout is only 25 minutes. Maybe we're just doing this block of work for shoulders. So I'm going to go hard. And then we move on to the next body part, but he does formulate it in a way where at the scope of the entire week, everything gets hit, and I really am enjoying it. Now, through the summer, I didn't keep up with my running. I was doing a lot of walks, so I would lift and then do a walk on my walking pad. or 1 to 2 days a week, I would lift and then do my spin bike. But I wanted to get back into running after the summer. The humidity and heat is down. We had so much smoke and poor air quality from the Canada fires this summer that I was like, I'm not going to detriment my health just to continue running. It's now cooled down. So I set a new challenge for myself to improve my pace of a 1-ish minute mile. I'm most of the time kind of hitting it off at like 1.2 miles, and that does not include the walk that I do for a warm up and the walk that I do for a cool down. I hit start on my Strava app when I start running, okay? And today I was so close. I was 10 minutes and 2 seconds. I was so close to having my pace be under 10 minutes, you guys, which does not sound impressive to people in the running world. But for somebody like me, where I barely ran a mile in 14-ish minutes at the start of January 2025, like, that is huge. That is huge, 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 huge. And that was after a leg day, mind you. So like I said, can't wait to see where I'm at on Friday with my 1-minute mile challenge. And so that's my routine lately is I do my strength training and then I do my cardio after my strength training. My strength training is 25-ish minutes long. My cardio is now 25-ish minutes long. When I was doing walking on my walking pad, sometimes it'd be 30 to 45 minutes depending on the day. If I'm on my spin bike, it's never usually over 20. But right now in this plan and what I see projecting as like my plan throughout the end of the year is I'm going to lift and then I'm going to run, and then I'm going to lift and I'm going to run and do that. It's 5 lifts out of the week, and do my run 4 to 5-ish days out of the week. Obviously, there are some days where I have an appointment and I can't do the whole hour-long rigmarole, because with setting it up and all of that, it does take a little bit longer than just like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. But then I will set the goal of doing that. And then when it starts to get really cold again, I do plan to bring back in some spin. And this is hitting everything for me. This is hitting strength. This is hitting cardio. This is hitting mobility and all of that. And it's feeling really, really good. In the program, he does have another day in there that's cardio core of some kind. But I am working with a chiropractor right now for my back, specifically my neck and my left hip / sciatica. So I'm nixing that, and I'm doing more of like making sure I'm doing my exercises or the 21-day fix Pilates. That's such a good OG Pilates that is really, really good for abs and back and all of the things. So that is what I'm up to, and that is the biggest difference and change that I've made. Is it's not as hard, it's not as intense, but I am so consistent, and it's realistic to be consistent with, because I'm not beating myself up. My body doesn't need 2 to 3 business days to recover from a hard day being hard and an easy day being easy. It's just, I am consistently moderate. I was so impressed with my body, because I remember when I was working up to 6 miles, after my 6-mile run, like, I couldn't energetically do much the rest of the day. And this is also a caveat, and I was reading a book, which book it was, it doesn't matter because it's not about this, but she was talking about how her husband was wanting to make changes in his lifestyle, and she was like, oh yeah, we're gonna stop doing XYZ, ABC, and start doing this and stop doing that. And he was like, no, I'm just gonna start with getting up and running a mile in the morning. And she's like, he has been doing 1 mile in the morning for years and years and years, and then he made another small change, and then he made another small change, and then he made another small change, and that has led him to losing and keeping off 20 pounds in the last decade over the last decade. And truly, it just speaks to like consistency can be such a superpower. And I saw a quote I've been sharing on Instagram. I'm pulling up a quote I've been sharing on Instagram lately because I've been loving Pinterest. Hello. Pinterest is such a good like social media for not being overstimulating. And so I'm back on Pinterest, and I scroll Pinterest in the morning because I've curated my Pinterest to be positivity and motivational and my grandma aesthetic home decor that I want to see and outfits and stuff like that. But I pulled a quote from it and posted it on my stories this morning that was, cardio for a long life, weights for quality of life, mobility for a pain-free life. And I am so sick and tired of so many people being like, this is better, this is better, that is better, this is better, that is better, this is better. And this is a waste of time and you shouldn't be doing this. It's like, when it comes to fitness, all of it is important. You want to have strength, you want to have mobility, you want to have good cardiovascular, and everything else in between. And so pick and choose what is where your strengths and weaknesses are right now. I know that I have years and years and years of muscle on my body. Like, I was talking to a friend about this that was like, yeah, I went in for actually one of those body scans, and I thought it was for sure going to tell me to add on more muscle, but I have really great muscle on my body. It's just we're holding on to inflammation or excess fat or whatever it is. And I was thinking the same thing about myself. I'm like, I know I have progress to be made in the strength department for sure with adding on lean muscle mass, but I know that regardless of the weight gain that I have had over the years, I've maintained a really good fitness level. And so now it's just like being really well-rounded and working on my area of weakness, which is cardiovascular. But now it's becoming a strength. Like, oh my gosh, you guys, a year ago, cardiovascular for me, forget about it. If you were like, Joelle, go run that 1 mile loop, I'd be like, I'm going to die. Like, and now I'm like, okay. And they say the first mile is the hardest. I was thinking about that on my run this morning, was that the first mile is the hardest. And right now I am chipping away at that first mile and I'm stopping at the hardest part. And so I do think it will help my training. I do plan to do a 10K again in the spring. And so come Q2 of 2026, wild to talk about, Q1 and Q2 of 2026, I'll bring back the distance. But right now, I'm just working on speed, man. And it's really fun. And also, I don't have to plan an hour or more out of my day to get my run in, because it's just like out and back super quick. So that's been really nice with maintaining the consistency of training right now. Is my lifting sessions are 25 minutes. My running sessions, from start to finish, including my walk and cool down, is about 20-25 minutes. And that's it. And it hits the nail on the head of both. And when I'm resting in between my lifting sets, I'm trying to sneak in mobility work. I'm trying not to just like stand there or look at my phone or whatever when they're having us go in between sets. So that is the biggest change that I've made. I think it's going to lead to making the biggest difference in me actually seeing progress. And that is what I'm doing right now. And since you guys have been asking me about that on Instagram, I wanted to share with you. And just remember, progress is not linear. That doesn't always mean you're going to be taking steps back and step forward. I share a lot of the graph that I use to track, and I'll be honest with you guys, as you're here on my podcast, it's my weight. And I have been tracking my weight consistently since, when was the first time I stepped on a scale? Sometime in 2024. And this summer I started to see the trajectory going back up again. And I was like, nope, gotta lock it in, gotta figure it out. I want to see the trajectory. Like, there can be spikes and it is not linear, but I want to see overall there's a solid downward trajectory, even with some like bumps and spikes along the way. And so I'm back on my ish again, got it figured out with my nutrition. When it comes to weight loss, nutrition is the main thing you want to focus on. You are probably eating more than you think. You're probably not getting enough protein. You could probably making small micro changes that would make big difference over time. Another episode for another day. This is just going to be quick. My kids are hopping off the bus. I'm glad we got the chance to chat a little bit. Come on over to Instagram. Say hi. Give me your thoughts. What are your goals? What are you working towards? I'm shaving down my 1 minute mile. Come tell me yours. And then follow along with me on Instagram as I share my progress towards that goal. Because it's not anything that's super impressive right now. And I'm definitely at a humble beginning and showing and sharing the journey of being at a beginning when it comes to doing something new. And I hope that that just inspires you a little bit to do anything that you feel afraid to start because you're like, I'm not good at this. Start it anyway.